All right, well, we're back. Wheels Boy Chat. For this episode, we're going to... Sorry, that was not an enthusiastic intro. I'm not going to take it again. I am excited about this because we're going to talk about... Our main topic is going to be about what was called Alps, but we now know is called Onvo, which is NIO's affordable brand that they're putting out.
Yes.
Then we're going to talk a bit about what you and I have been driving recently.
Yeah. Okay. So this is this could break out into a huge topic, right? Because it's actually like obviously I drive a NIO,
ET7.
and and it comes up in conversation online quite a lot. There's a lot of NIO fans out there.
That's why I avoid it as much as possible.
So there's a lot of conversation going on, and obviously because it's NIO as well, there's some other moving parts that affect Onvo, right? So I'll go through that quickly first. So
Please.
You got the battery swap stations, which NIO is famous for, and the new ones should also be battery swapping.
Mm-hmm.
But they came out a little while ago and said that well, we know that Gen 1, Gen 2 can only swap the 70, 75, and 100 size batteries.
Not the 150 semi-solid state.
Not the 150 semi-solid state. It's third gen semi-solid state. The third gen onwards will be able to handle different battery dimensions, right? That's the first thing. Second thing, that the NIO branded stations will only be for NIO cars. Mm-hmm. Meaning that the sub-brand wouldn't be able to go supposedly to like a third gen NIO station.
Interesting.
Right?
And so they're restarting the infrastructure there.
But not alone this time, because they've got loads of like partnerships.
They've got buy-in. They've got buy-in now from major Chinese automakers in Chang'an, right?
Yeah. So the idea is that basically going to build out this new network and then share it with these guys for their mainstream brand.
Yeah.
And you basically you use their money to do it, right?
Yes, which is what you kind of want when you're a smaller company. Like that.
There's all of that going on, and then obviously the brand itself, and we know it's only one of two new brands, right? Because there's also Firefly, the other brand.
So what is going to be? Do we know right now the difference between the two? Onvo is affordable in the sense that it's supposed to be essentially, the price is supposed to be from 200,000 to 300,000 RMB, which is about high 20,000s to about a little over 40,000 US dollars.
I believe Firefly, I was told, is specifically being built for European audiences.
So it's manual diesel wagons.
Yeah,
it's a
manual
huge
diesel wagons,
market shift, a strategy shift.
No, I think so. Therefore, I think maybe that might ditch swapping altogether, because obviously they may take NIO abroad and do battery swapping and build out, but I don't think they're also. Is Onvo going abroad?
Well, it's a fair question.
I don't think so, and I haven't seen many people talk about it. So if Firefly is going there, I think Firefly is going to Europe as the mass brand, and therefore is going to just use straight DC fast charging.
Right, so not battery swapping.
Yes.
Now I understand what you mean when you talked about this being somewhat of a larger topic than you might think.
But we know very little about Firefly.
And we know only slightly more about Onvo.
Yes.
So Onvo is, again, NIO's new affordable brand. There may be some debuts at the Shanghai Auto Show. We're not quite positive about that yet.
Yes.
It seems reasonable that we'll see probably.
Yeah, we've seen some spy shots now and some.
Right. Which, as I was talking to you earlier, the car that they showed. Let's be clear. These were the kind of spy shots that are like, it's a spy shot, because the test car that they showed had a sticker on the back window. That said "Bi Mao Dou Y, Geng Bang," which means better than a Model Y.
Yes.
And it is indeed, size-wise, it seems, price-wise, very much aimed at the Model Y.
Yeah.
Versus other NIO SUVs, which are
But there's some front ends have come out now as well, shots of the front end.
Yes. Oh, yes. No, sorry. It's just the one that they got front and both.
Yeah.
Front and back and both. But so we know that. We know that it's going to keep the battery swapping.
Yes. And the newest one had a badge on the back of Onvo and then L60, which somebody tweeted out. We know it's going to be called the L60. I'm not. I think it's going to be called the L. I'm not sure, because I think I remember them talking about having a 60 and 90 kilowatt hour battery for this model. So L60 might be the L with a 60 kilowatt battery. But then does that mean
That
that we
could be.
can't do upgradable swapping? You know,
Right.
it could bring in a lot of
The more battery
other
sizes
caveats.
the more battery sizes you have, the more complicated it becomes to
Yeah,
manage
well,
them
they
in
have
the
a 60
supply
and
and
90,
stuff.
but the beauty of NIO is that I can put my 75 battery in and take a 100 and rent it for a day, a month,
Right.
or whatever, right?
Right.
They might not allow that on the new brand. Do we know? We don't know. There's a lot of people that are, I think, looking at NIO and then taking things directly across. But I think that NIO's going to have to kind of separate. It's going to be a very hard line to walk of what NIO S features can you get for a significantly lower cost to keep the premium brand of NIO
Premium.
right?
Right. And then also make sure that the lower end brand is affordable.
Yeah, and then they've got the ET9 coming out, which is meant to be even more premium. So then they've got to think of other ways to make that.
It's over $1 million, right? RMB.
It's like 900,000.
900,000 RMB,
So
which is
it's-
over like 115K.
Yeah, so they need to also, think about that fact as well. So they're kind of going both ways.
Well, one of those has to happen. The ET9, I don't think, is a vehicle that is going to make or break NIO, frankly, unless they spend way too much money making it. The Onvo brand, which is called Le Dao in Chinese, which basically means kind of like happy road, you could translate it as, from the Chinese people that I've spoken with. It doesn't really sound like a brand. It doesn't really sound like a car brand kind
It
of
sounds
name.
like a TV show, I think.
Sounds a little bit maybe like a TV show, maybe like somebody said it sounds like there's a Baidu, Chinese Google, whatever.
Yeah.
Baidu, they have an online dictionary called Yo Dao, and Le Dao, Yo Dao, like it sounds like it'd be a name for a dictionary. Either way, people will get used to it.
Children's nursery rhyme.
A children's nursery rhyme. And then Onvo is the whole name of Onvo is a separate
we already
issue.
did that, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And so that's kind of, I think that, again, ET9 is not a make or break for the brand. I do think that Onvo brand is something of a make or break for NIO as a whole, because they have struggled for now years to maintain and keep increasing sales. I mean, obviously they've increased sales.
They are increasing, but they're not going at the speed that they have set themselves, right? They fell short of their target last year.
Right.
So it's not been an easy road for them.
No,
right?
they make good products, but it hasn't been easy.
But they're spread out doing this and that.
Phones, God help us.
Phones, the battery swap station. Yes, it's very pinnacle to their central point. It's an amazing technology to have, but obviously that's another pressure of building a brand new company, right? And
Yes.
So they are where they are at now. The Onvo brand, this is their attempt to gain a lot of sales, right? Because obviously they've got
Yes,
that
to go
huge-
mainstream, to get sales
They've
volume.
got that huge park in Hubei, right? That NIO park.
Oh
They've
yeah,
got
was it like a
huge
manufacturing
amounts
park?
Capacity,
Yeah.
Capacity, right?
Huge
So-
capacity. And so yeah, it's in a way to achieve profitability through volume and stuff, which they haven't been able to do with the NIO brand very much so far. So yeah, I mean that's essentially what we know about Onvo. We're looking forward to seeing it maybe at the Shanghai Auto Show, Beijing Auto Show for 2024, end of April, and learning more about it. Let's briefly talk a little bit about what it is that you and I have been driving recently. I'll go first because it won't take me very long.
Okay.
This week, for the viewers that don't know, I do English language content, which they see on YouTube, and then I do Chinese language content for domestic platforms. And we borrowed a Ford F-150 Raptor for a Chinese language video.
Right, yeah.
The conceit of which is basically, I'm an American, I love big pickup trucks, which is true. I'm conflicted about it, but it's true. I don't see why they're not more popular in China. Obviously, I understand that.
Simpleton.
Well, the conceit of the
find
video is
out?
that I am indeed a simpleton. For the record, for people watching, I understand there are a lot of regulatory reasons why F-150 Raptors are not more widely sold.
Yes.
And they're not allowed in certain places, and blah, 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 blah. Putting all that aside, I did spend a lot of time driving this truck, and there was, I don't ever want to drive a car that big in my life. I don't want to own a car that big. I mean, my father's always owned big pickup trucks, two F-150s and a Tundra now, and it's like 5.8 meters long, his Tundra. You know, it's longer than an Escalade ESV. It's crazy.
The height of it, man.
And the height and the hood. You saw the F-150, the hood. I mean, there's more and more attention being given to the fact that these massive SUVs are murdering people.
They would basically
and
nearly
trucks.
take me out at shoulder level, right?
Right,
Like literally my head would just roll on.
I have a picture I took. It's at my chest. It wouldn't knock my feet out and have me hit the hood. It would hit my chest and my heart would explode into my brain. So anyways, it was, however, very nice to have enough power to pull over an apartment building. And also it's pretty nice to have a suspension that you can, it does not recognize the existence of once you get up to speed, especially speed bumps, undulations in the road, it absolutely conquers everything. And so I will not pretend that I did not enjoy getting away a bit from the EVs and going back to 400 horsepower turbo V6 that doesn't sound that great, to be honest. That's the one thing I could say. I wish it was a V8. I wish it was a V8. I still do.
Wow. V8s, that's an American thing mostly.
It is. That's why it's
big, slow V8s.
Greatest country on earth. Because we have V8s. Yeah. So what have you been driving?
Not a ridiculous pickup truck.
Instead of ridiculous hybrid SUV?
Yes, it was another extended range EV called the Roxo 1. That's ROX because, the cool kids.
Rocks.
So, yes, it's an extended range EV. Look, the styling of it, it's a good looking vehicle.
I think it looks great.
It does look great, and a lot of that is down to the fact that it looks like another very great looking vehicle from another brand.
From multiple, but it takes, I think, it takes and synthesizes the styling language of mostly one Land Rover Defender, and then another Land Rover models in general, and then maybe a little bit of Li Auto in there.
Yeah, on the interior.
On the interior mostly, you're right.
Yeah.
But I think as we were filming the truck, I just think it looks great.
It does look great.
It looks great
in the green color.
Oh, the green is beautiful.
Yeah.
So, putting aside the exterior styling,
yes,
there's some pretty cool stuff about the car.
Yeah, I mean, yes. In my mind, I'm thinking, yes, but I mean, how many people is that really useful for, and is that a large enough niche, right? So,
what's the niche?
The big thing is kind of outdoorsiness, adventuring, right? Which SUVs they should
which
be
is
able
what
to
sells
do that.
SUVs, frankly.
Right, but this goes a little bit step further with this whole new energy vehicle, take your family camping thing we've seen, tried out again and again, because it has this like camp kitchen in the back of the tailgate, right? So
which is awesome.
It is. So it's got like a flip down surface. You put a stove on. It's got an outlet, so you can run an electric stove if you want. It's got a water dispenser. It will heat. It will supposedly heat water in 3 seconds. We
never could quite get it to get water to come out of it, but these are often pre-production vehicles that were lent, so I'm not going to hold that against them too much.
And then it's got supposedly the bottom part, the table is removable for you to put somewhere else. So it's kind of taking this one step further. How many people go out regularly enough to somewhere where they can park up and use a kitchen at the back of, you know what I mean? We are in China especially.
Wrong question though. You know what the right question is. It's how many people think that they are going to go and do that.
Yes.
Because it's the same reason that hundreds of thousands of people buy Jeep Wranglers.
Yes.
Is because they think, one, they want the image, and two, they think, well, I'm gonna take it off road, right? It's gonna look really cool. People are gonna think I'm really cool, and I'm gonna be cool. And so I would say I don't know how many people are actually going to get the dealer installed kitchen thing. They may
It's not that expensive. Well, it's not that expensive in the whole scheme of things.
No.
That's like 4,000 RMB.
So less than $500.
Yeah, but they're giving it away for free at the moment.
There you go.
So, but I would say camping, this kind of going out for camping for the day, it has become quite popular, especially since COVID.
150%.
Right,
It's
so
huge. It's the reason that we go to all these car launch events, and almost every single one of them,
shows
regardless of whether it makes any sense or not, will have a camping scenario for you, or one part of your test drive driving event will have you filming at a campsite.
Yes,
even if it doesn't make sense.
But what they fail to mention is that they rent out these campsites and it allows them to drive onto the grass and set them up, because usually you have to park in the car park and lug your tent to the grassy knoll. So
yeah, you can't just drive your car, your huge car.
Right. So yes, it's one of those things, right? It's a cool kind of idea.
Yeah. So I think that, you drove it a lot more than I did. I mean, my understanding is it's just kind of what you expect.
Yeah, it's just a big SUV,
No air suspension.
No.
But it has
CDC.
CDC.
It has some off-road modes like sand and mud.
For the traction control, I'm sure.
Yeah, and supposedly it could do a 45-degree incline. So it's not completely useless.
No, it's got dual motors, right?
Yeah.
And so it's going to be able to do a decent amount of torque distribution, at least front to rear.
Yeah, I mean, look, it drives like a big SUV. It's kind of pitched up, so got some body roll going on, but it's generally comfortable on road. So, but you can also get like airline seating in the second row if you get the 6-seat version.
Yeah. What is it? What did you say? What did you say? What did you describe? Were you saying it was you Land Rover on the outside, or?
Range Rover on the outside and Li Auto on the inside. But it's this duality of trying to be like a premium outdoor adventuring kind of car, which at first you're like, well, that doesn't really make sense, because you get things like the Wrangler where they're like, oh, we've got to spray down interiors because
and this is Napa leather or whatever.
Yeah, and this goes the other way. But then I do think, what would be great is if someone drove me through beautiful scenery while I was just sat in the back laying out,
getting massaged,
out the window, right?
And, occasionally looking out the window at the views before glancing back up to the whatever, having a 15.6-inch rear screen or whatever.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think they could potentially find a market for that. There is certainly a lot of people that like at least the appearance of being outdoorsy. The PHEV powertrains, these extended range EV powertrains, which, from what we know, they basically use the same supplier as Li Auto, right?
So the engine, the
engine, the 1.5 liter.
There's a lot of similarities. About
we'll just say yes.
Stuff.
I don't know if we can say 150%, but the feeling, based on the numbers and everything, it looks as though they at least share some supplier parts and
stuff from some.
Which is definitely not a bad thing for them, because that powertrain's proved to help Li Auto sell a lot of cars.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see if they're able to find a market for it. But in theory, I can see why they went that direction.
Yeah, they might have to cut prices though.
Yeah, well, find me a company that isn't cutting prices. Anyways, so there's another topic for later discussion, the ongoing price war in China, but it ain't going to be talked about today.
Oh.
And not by us. I think that's going to do it. And thanks, Will.
Next time.
And we'll talk to you, talk to me, and talk to the audience. Not really, they'll listen on our next episode.